In this video, I'll show you my dual boot system within Voodoo3 2000 released 1999 and a GeForce 8600 GT from 2007. Hello retro fans, welcome back to BttR Gaming. The year is coming to an end. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to use all my material, but I will publish my already recorded material about the other Voodoo PCs, so stay tuned for more retro videos. The case is from MS Tech, it's called Frozen Longhorn. It was released 2012. With this system, I can run native DOS games from 1990s to DirectX 10 games from 2010. I'll show you my installation routine, the scalability of the Voodoo3 2000, as well as a direct comparison of the two graphic cards and further benchmarks with previous videos. The description contains details about the system and links to the other videos, so enjoy the video. The Voodoo3 just arrived back from the maintenance from Backfire. In addition to the normal jackup, he also installed an active fan, which you can see here. Since I also had my Benji in maintenance at the same time, I have to quickly show the structural similarities between the two cards. The lens and the whites are almost identical. I presented the Benji in more detail in a previous video. Feel free to check it out later. Then there's this 8600 GT from NVIDIA. It's from 2007. I bought it at a collective auction. After a bit of cleaning and maintenance, it's now being installed to the system. It has, instead of 16 megs of RAM, 512 MB and can render DirectX 10 games, whereas the Voodoo3 only goes up to DirectX 6 and, of course, Glide. A Creative Sound Plaza PCI 128 is used as a sound card. It was released in 1999, so it fits perfectly with the Voodoo3, and it's an ideal bridge between DOS and Windows. Even though it doesn't support EAX, it is reliable, compatible, and has a clean sound. Not high-end, but extremely stress-free. The power supply is from Enermax, 350 watts, released in 2002. I'm treating the system with 2 x 1 GB DDR1 RAM from G.Skill. They were released around 2010. Now to the mainboard. This is an 8-bit AX8 with socket 939 and a VIA K8T890 chipset. I had little problems with running it in dual channel mode, so I decided to let it run in a single channel. It was released around 2004. It supports Athlon64 and Athlon64X2 processors. For this build, I choose an AMD Athlon64 3500 Plus called Newcastle, which runs at 2.2 GHz and was released also in 2004. RAM and CPU is installed. So now only the Voodoo3 2000 is installed, and let's take a look at the BIOS. It was listed as dual channel, but I later switched it to a single channel. So here's now the cleaned 8600 ready to take off. Let's start with Windows 98. The installation followed my standard routine. Feel free to watch my first 3dfx video where I list the individual steps in detail. The link is in the description. I always partition my dual boot systems with Windows 98 at 2GB FAT32 and Windows XP at 15GB and NTFS. I always partition my dual boot systems with Windows 98 at 2GB and FAT32 and Windows XP at 15GB and NTFS. And the rest of the data will be partitioned in FAT32 for games and other stuff. To enable a clean dual boot, I disable the new graphics card in the device manager, so this card will not be loaded from Windows and Voodoo3 can run at its own. In Windows XP, I do the same with the older graphics card, so a new card with the Windows XP and the older card of Windows 98. Now let's install Windows XP. There are many different installation ISOs for Windows XP. If your hard drive is not recognized, you can either use a floppy disk drive to load the ZIP drives, or you can use a modified image in which the drivers are already installed. Now let's start with my standard settings. A quick side note, during the video recording I still had the Benji installed, which was later replaced with a more suitable computer, so this PC is all about the Voodoo3 2000. As you can see, the Benji is installed by default from the system, and the GeForce is still an unknown device. Of course, the GeForce driver wants the net software installed, so let's install this first. But I had an old disk for this computer. It's a Service Pack 2 ISO, so I installed the Service Pack 3, and afterwards I installed an update package from WinFuture. I put the link in the description. So after installing the service pack, the update pack, or the other drivers, I deactivate the other graphics card so that the modern graphics card is the only one running in the Windows XP system. So let's start the benchmarks. Since we are already on the Windows XP systems, I'll start with this system, and we'll start with the oldie Quake 2, and let's kick it. As always, I choose system settings for high sound, high quality, high video. For sound setting, I always use the performance mode, as all my systems use a dedicated sound card. This sound option uses a more direct audio path. This reduces the load of the CPU. Quake 2 runs more smoothly. But in this case, it's not necessary. Did you see that? That was with the 8600 GT. It's a league in its own, that's why I'll mention it separately. For this benchmark comparison, I use different systems to show how graphic cards perform depend on the system performance. As always, I use a mix of Quake 2, Quake 3, and UT1999, as well as 3D Mark 99 to 2001, each in 1024 times 768 in 16-bit colors. Afterwards, I benched the Voodoo3 2000 PCI again in 800 times 600 with the Pentium 3 as well as the Athlon64 to see how it scales with CPU and lower resolutions. For the main comparison, I have prepared the following values. The Benji PCI and the Voodoo3 2000 PCI in the single-core 2.2 GHz Athlon64, which is presented in this video today. I also compared the system with the Voodoo3 2000 onboard and the Voodoo2 SLI system. All systems are so designed so that there should be no CPU bottleneck in 124 times 768. Link to all the systems are in the description below. I also overclocked the Voodoo3 system to compare the scaling. The Voodoo3 PCI only ran stable up to 160 MHz. With the onboard version, I stopped testing it at Voodoo3 3000 level, which has 166 MHz. I don't want to unnecessarily strain the system more. The Voodoo2 and the SLI has 4 TMUs and 24 megs of RAM, so that's why it's so good in this benchmark. As you can see, the overclockings from the Voodoo3 2000 PCI, it was around 11% and has better results of 13.5. The Voodoo3 2000 onboard was 15% overclocked and got 44% better performance. The onboard system was upgraded from 8 to 60 megs and has faster RAM. It has 50 nanoseconds instead of 6. And the 8600 GT is 7.6 times as fast as the fastest system in the benchmark. Now Quake 3 shows that the Voodoo2 SLI system and the Voodoo system do not fail to computing power, but rather than bus and driver limitations. Only the AGP connected Voodoo3 variant can fully exploit its potential. See, without overclocking, both Voodoo3 systems are on the same level. After overclocking, however, the AGP version pulls ahead. With 11% overclocking, the PCI version only gets 6% faster, and the onboard variant gets with 15% overclocking 36% better results. And as well as in Quake 2, the 8600 GT is a lot faster than the fastest other system, 5.8 times. In UT1999, the SLI system wins the race, and the Benji has also okay results. The results of the Voodoo3 systems at stock are almost the same, but with overclocking, the AGP pulls slightly ahead. AGP benefits a little bit more from the overclocking than the PCI version. It's 11% overclocking, which results in 12.7% better performance compared to 15% overclocking and 19% better performance. The Voodoo2 SLI system benefits greatly here. The 8600 GT in direct 3D mode is only 2.7 times faster this time. All 3D marks do not measure raw graphics performance, rather system efficiency. AGP, low latencies and high clock speeds count more than SLI or memory size. The overclocked Voodoo3 onboard wins this because 3D Mark 99 does not benefit much from faster CPUs. This time 4.5 times faster. In 3D Mark 2000, the PCI Voodoo3 benefits the first time from the grateful overall system. It also improves more from the overclocking with 12.4% against the AGP version, which only has 9.5 better performance this time. This time 6.3 times faster than the fastest Voodoo system. So let's move on to the most modern test, 3D Mark 2001. The PCI system can now pull even further ahead. 3D Mark 2001 is much more TNL and geometry intensive. Without hardware TNL, the CPU has to do the work. Pentium 3 600 is extremely limited here. However, overclocking once again clearly shows the limitations of the PCI bus. The PCI version only benefits by 9.2%, better performance, while the onboard AGP version benefits with 28.6%. And now the 8600 GT performs so much better than all the other benchmarks. It's around 8.4 times faster than the fastest Voodoo system. Let's move on to the scaling tests. All Voodoo cards benefit greatly from embedded CPUs. Since my 2000 cards severely limited by the system bus, I reduced the resolution for testings. However, the Pentium 3 system is not the one with the Voodoo 3 onboard. It's the system which I tested, the Voodoo 1. You can find it in my previous videos. So in Quake 2, the better system brings around 35% better performance. In Quake 3, I choose Pigma 1 and only high quality settings, so not the best possible settings, so that the GPU is not limited. But it did not perform as well as I hoped. There's only 8.6% better performance. In Unreal Tournament 99, the switch was better. It brought about 21% better performance. At the 3D marks, 35%. And in 2001, it was 50%. So you can see that the CPU matters if you want to play lower resolutions. But for me, I tend to play in 124x768, so it does not matter if you have a modern CPU. The Pentium 3 or Pentium 4 are enough for my kind of gaming. If you want to play 640 times 480, then the higher CPU, the better. 800 times 600 is the same, but at higher resolution, the CPU doesn't matter that much. So at the end, the onboard connection from the Voodoo delivers measurable, better performance. However, a faster CPU hardly helps in games, especially in higher resolutions. In the next video, I will compare a Voodoo 3 3000 AGP directly with the onboard version from the Voodoo 3 2000 onboard. I also attended a 3dfx LAN party and visited the Retro LAN 5 here in Germany, and I will post short videos as soon as possible. Don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.